Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Paul. You know, one of the good things about Saturday Night Live is that we strive to be real, authentic around here. Now, not saying that we are hit that target perfectly, but I think we strive to do that, and Kim demonstrated that just now, and also Paul, because Paul, you know, he was sharing some of his own stuff, and I'd like to start off here by saying, Kim, we don't understand this, and this feels weird, but oftentimes it feels worse as it's getting better, right? Hello. It feels everything should get to feeling better, but that's not the way that it is. Is that not true? Why is that? Do you know?
I believe you're going to tell us.
Well, actually, Zach hit a lot of it while he was talking there, and see, we have hidden out, numbed out, avoided, you know, all those coping mechanisms, those things that hurt so bad or we were so afraid of, and some of it we were consciously aware of, and but most of it was non-conscious or unconscious. All right? And so when we start finally doing what step 6 says here, that we become entirely ready. Everybody together. We become entirely ready. Now, that's a big statement. That is an attitude adjustment, right? Well, yeah. It is what we all love. It's a process, but see, we have our brain is a tremendous piece of machinery, okay? And the reality is we have 2 lobes and we have 7 different compartments in each lobe, and they work differently, they function, and it's amazing. And the trouble is, one part of your brain will try to shut off other parts of your brain and hide stuff and avoid stuff and lock stuff down. And also, have you found that your own brain sometimes will push you around and punish you? Yes. Because it will. It do it. Okay? And so we have these things going on, and so this entirely ready is the process. We can only be ready for what we're willing to do at the moment. But the fact of it is, entirely ready is just an enormous statement. Okay, I don't know that entirely thing. It's you know, we work on it. I get sick and tired of being sick and tired. I've been around this thing so many times. I'm here in the same place again, right? Right? And finally something happens to get switched, okay? And now we're able, because we've been stuck right here, then we begin, our vision or our perspective begins to enlarge. We go from here, and now we can see things from maybe over here. And that's what Zach was talking about. And there's a difference. Things look similar, but different from here. Does that make sense? Yeah. And so And so, and one of the amazing things about our brain, the left side and the right side creates thoughts and memories of the same thing, but one starts from the detail and enlarges it. That's the left side. The right side starts from the big aspect of it, and then it fills in all the data into the field. All right? So that according to neuroscience, that is. And but it's the same picture, but it's processed differently. Does that make sense? And when it comes together, it helps you to have a 3D perspective, right? Does that, kind of like your eyes, both eyes see the same thing, but they see it from a little different advantage, and it fills in the gaps for you, in case you didn't know that. But your brain fills in the gaps for you, or yes, your brain. And so here we are. We got these things, and we are hiding some things, and we're avoiding some things, and we told our unconscious, I don't want to go there. And every time something starts to touch us a little bit, that sends us into a panic, or we go into a defense mode, okay? Or I'm looking for cover or protection, or numbing, or avoidance, or a behavior. Any of that sound familiar? Hello? And so you say, well, I hear what you're saying, but how come I can't see it when it's happening? Because that's the way we've hidden it from ourselves most of the time. And as we become, how many times have you heard that the first step of recovery is awareness, right? We become aware. But see, we're not even aware of what's going on. We're not even aware of most of the decisions that we make, because 95% of our decisions come out of our unconsciousness. Okay? We just see the effects of what we're doing. And that's the reason why it's so important to turn your awareness up. What is it that's going on here? When people come to me and they tell me they messed up or something's happened or blah, 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 my normal first question is, what did you learn? Why do I ask that? Because it's important. Because if you didn't learn it, you get to do it again. Isn't that great? And the trouble is, we don't learn it all in the first go around, right? Right? Or the second or the third. Okay? We just, even Moses in the wilderness wandered around that desert for 40 years trying to get it right. Okay? Isn't that great? I've prayed in my particular situation. I said, God, I don't want to wander around here for 40 years. Okay? Help me. That's trying to get to the place that become entirely ready, okay? And you're trying to see, what you're seeing, but you're not willing to see, okay? If I were willing to see what I see and know what I know. Zach was wanting to say something. So you thought. What did he mean by that? Well, there's a lot of stuff I meant by that. But go ahead.
So I'm in recovery, right? And so I wait to get into relationships until I think I'm healthy or healthier. Okay? And so then I get into some relationships. And I don't make all the same mistakes, but they still blow up in my face. Okay? I think sometimes what we run into in recovery is that we do get healthier and we get the same results. And we've been so long looking at ourselves that we negate how far we've come, and we don't take into effect that it's not just us in these things. And these can be work, these can be spouse or mate, or these can be work relationships, these can be other things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I believe so. When you were talking, Kim, it reminded me of a story. Everybody loves stories, right? That I heard. And actually, it was an illustration of how things work in the spirit world and with the Spirit. And I thought it is applicable, and again, possibly it will help in this that you're talking about. And that is that the story goes, we're walking through our domain, and we see something that's sticking up in our perfect world that looks like an ugly weed. And so we go over, and it's small, and we say, Lord, what do I do here? And he says, well, just deal with it. How many of you you've had a thought or the Holy Spirit's told you just deal with it? Okay? Because if you don't deal with it, then So we go ahead and deal with it. You know, we take a pair of scissors and snip, and now everything's beautiful again, right? Yeah, and so you go through there, and then that's level 99. So then you go down to level 98, and hey, this is even more beautiful. Man, it's my domain. I have grown. And then I come across the same place that I did the last time, and where there was a weed, now there's a tree, a little small twig tree there. Well, I thought I dealt with that. You know what I mean? I thought I dealt with that. Well, we did deal with it on level 99, but now we're on level 98. Okay? Now, we were able to deal with it on 99 because that's where we were. Hello? That's where we were. So now we're on level 98. Now, you have the potential to deal with that because you know why? Because that's where you are. But the scissors is not going to take care of this. It's going to have to be some prune shears. And of course, those will be provided, and there they are. All you have to do is use the tools that's been provided. So there you go. And feels so good when you dealt with it. I didn't know if I could or not, but I did. It worked out. Now my domain is beautiful again. Man, life is great. Yes. And then we go to 97. And I didn't think things could get any better, but here it is on 97. It's just so much better. I mean, I can't believe it's so much better. Man, this is good. Until I come to that same spot, and it's not a twig anymore, a small tree. Now it's starting to be a sapling. Man, I thought I dealt with this. Has anybody ever said this before? Okay. Well, what do I do here? Well, you know, there's a little saw, little handsaw. You can take the little handsaw. Oh, you might be able to, but you know, you could hack on it with the pruning shears, but you know. Yeah. That's true. But wait a minute. Maybe I want to walk around this thing and whine a while. I was looking at the computer, okay? I don't think this is fair. It's not supposed to be this way. How come everybody else has a perfect land and I have an ugly little tree here? You know what I mean? You know? Yeah. This is not right. Yeah. I wonder whose fault it is that this is here. It's got to be somebody else's fault because it's definitely not mine because my world's been great. Yeah. Do you get my sarcasm? Our inability to take personal responsibility is immense. Actually, that's one of the things I want to talk about, but I'm not going to get to talk about it in this 10-minute slot. And so, anyway, to run this analogy on out, we're going to skip a few steps, but it's over and over and over, and each level we gain a greater capacity if we're willing to go ahead and do it. Does that make sense? All right? Another story is, you have people looking at an elephant, but they're all looking through a fence, and they describe this elephant in different ways. They're looking through little knotholes. Each one says, well, when I don't see an elephant, all I see are big old posts, okay? They were describing the legs. Another one says, all I see is a tube-like thing that's moving around, which was the nose, okay? And another talks about, well, all I see is just a wall of something there, So each one is describing parts because their perspective is only this small. Does that make sense? And sometimes that's the way things are. But our fear or our pain is so intense, we won't allow our perspective to grow or willing to shift to see. Okay? Oftentimes, the reason why that doesn't happen is because we go into our defense mode, into that blaming mode. It's not my fault, it's their fault. It's because the way they treated me as a child, or because I didn't get it, or I wasn't loved, or I wasn't hugged enough, and all that may be true, but that was then, and this is now. Does that make sense? I'm going to go ahead and jump this in here. I'm going to go around in a couple places and ask people to do something. I'd like for you to cough, sneeze, spit, or something on this nice piece of cake here. Nice piece of cake, right? Yummy piece of cake. How many of you want a bite of this piece of cake? Okay. Well, we wouldn't eat or consume something that was rotten or contaminated or toxic, right? Maybe. Yes, in our stupidity, we do stuff like that. But right now, in our semi-saneness, you wouldn't consume this cake after everybody coughed or sneezed on it, right? All right. But oftentimes we'll drag toxic things from our past into our present and then try to live off of them. We'll consume them. Does that make sense? All right? Or we'll have thoughts that are toxic or beliefs that are toxic. And we'll bite into those dudes. Okay? In fact, we'll use them as armor sometimes, right? Just come on and get me mad. All right? Just cross this line. Just look at me. I had a guy look at me one time. I was not in a good mood, and he looked at me. I know it. And good thing for me that Linda was with me, I guess. So she called me back. So, and but our stupidness will push us into places that we don't really want to go, but we'll let that stuff build up in us. Do you know what I'm talking about? Hello? 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 Hi. Whether it's stuff out of the past, and most of it is out of the past, by the way, right? And thoughts, urges. Sometimes we just wake up and things are pushing us around. We say, well, I thought that I got over this. I thought I cleaned this up. All right, I'm on level whatever. And here it is again. Actually, what it is, you get a chance to deal with it again. You get a chance to clear this garden. How many's ever gardened